Alright, ladies and gents. It appears as though some people are trying to find out what it is I'm actually trying to say. And I guess I should probably tell somebody what it is that I'm actually trying to say. Someone mentioned the sound in one of my videos, and I feel like I've already told you this part before, but that there's a split second in my mind where an entire universe unfolded because the words that the person used, which was there's a bad sound on that video. And when I see a word like bad, it's like a red flag. Good too. If someone says it's good because or it's bad because, it's a red flag for me. It tells me that I should probably investigate it a little bit further and find out exactly where I fit into it with what I believe in. And what I believe in is that everything is all one continuous kind of thing. And I can't know moment to moment what's good for the whole world. But I can know choice to choice, being led by my own heart to connect and not separate, since this is like imaginary. It's imaginary. Separation is imaginary. I just learned that from Sassafras. What was her name? Trance. Let's take a peekie. Planet Susan song. Whoa, how in the world did he pop up right there? So, oh, sorry. I was like, where am I going? All of a sudden I'm looking at my page like, oh, it's so bright and colorful. I'm going to just dive right in. There's a place for us. Worrying is using your imagination to create something you don't want. Abraham. I'm sorry, but I just dig that. Pretty much anything you do is using your imagination to create something. Any kind of anger, it's using your imagination to create more anger. And sadness is going to ultimately do the same thing and magnetize and create more sadness. Happiness is the same thing. And the thing is finding balance for each person. How does each person, how do we even communicate to one another when we're all dispersing such drastically different emissions? Everybody's, we have varying degrees of experiences going on in one house, and somehow we're all able to sinuously tie them all together because we're in extreme recognition that everybody's coming along on their own state of personal evolution, and we can't even comprehend where they are in the grand scheme of evolutionary bits, because as much as we feel like we are family, daughter, mother, brother, sister, everybody born and blood related and everything, underneath that blood and underneath those labels, well, I don't know about underneath, but submolecularly, it still all ends up in the same space. So we kind of like to just relate ourselves as a family member to being like magnetized bodies of energy. Having been so strongly connected, as energy is not able to be destroyed, that has a tendency to sort of keep itself together. I don't know really if it's all memory, but I have a feeling that memory is a really big thing, and I'm not talking about where did I put my keys. I'm talking about like memory, like an entire system of pictures constantly being flooded. I don't understand, I guess, how the eye without an eye sees. I guess once you've invented the human form, you can just kind of keep on going with it. But if it starts out as, well, no, because it's already an egg and sperm. So there's no end to it there that I can tell, unless we figure out how to. Well, no, I'm not going to get all into that. Then we're going transhumanism, but things to think about, folks. I'll do this. So there was someone struggling in a relationship, and they asked me to be raw with them and to be honest with them. And I have a tendency to be quite hard with someone if they're not paying attention to their words, because their words really do matter. They have certain qualities to them that will bring to them exactly what it is they wish for. I ultimately wished for happiness. Like, I just wanted to really wake up every day and feel good about myself. I didn't really have specific dreams or goals, and this is before. Now, obviously, I've thrown a future out there, and I'm working my way to it. But this is where I'm telling this person that we're both sitting now, is we're sitting in this magic space, and it doesn't feel like magic. Well, when you're working through it, it doesn't quite feel good until you choose to look at it as if it's something to feel good about. You can't have, well, you can have whatever you want, but if in fact you wish to align yourself with that centered space of inner peace and outer harmony with everything that's moving around in your world, and it moves, people. Don't think just because you happen to go a day without seeing more than one or two people and chatting for 10 or 15 minutes, and the rest of the time you're in solitude, that you're left in any way, shape, or form outside of everything that's spinning, because it's just not true. I drew a picture of an experience. It was a spiral, and that got bigger and went out, and then in the very center of the spiral was my birth year, 1974, and in each year after that, I labeled it around the spiral and where I had grown year by year by year by year by year. And on each of those blocks that I attached to that spiral that had the dates in them, I put little spirals coming off of them. In the beginning, 1974, 1975, 78, 80, there was just one or two little spirals. Those spirals actually spun out into other universes. I was communicating with certain people that I don't communicate with anymore, but they have part of my experience in their experience. So there was part of a universe that had to, spiral out and move on. From 80 to 90, the spirals all increased. I was developing as a human into a teenager with social requirements. So the universe has spun even more, and by the time 89 rolled around, I was one person, and I was just going through my life. I didn't know that I was actually putting things out into the universe. I had no idea. And I'm not telling you that you are. You're going to have to come to find out whether or not that's true for you. It's definitely true for me, because I've used that power of attraction recently much more effectively, knowing that it's out there. And what has come to me is irreplaceable. And my heart rate is more often than not settled and calm, able to stop and look, listen, but most of all, really take in the observations. Anyways, but that wasn't happening then. So then by the time like 92 rolled around, then the spirals went out of control. They were everywhere, all over, which created a big mess on my little spiral diagram. It was like, in the beginning just a couple, and then towards 89, and then all of a sudden 92, I'm I'm getting ready to get out of high school. I'm meeting, older people. They're drinking and partying and hanging out. And pretty soon, the lies all started like way heavy with the lies. And it was like this big, like, conglomerate of spiraled universes of words that I had said that I still don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, there's still a possibility that I probably did something, which doesn't surprise me because I'm oblivious to much. I live a fairly simple life, and I don't notice things the same way that other people do, and I spend a good majority of my time just thinking about communication between humans. Does that mean that I'm going to be able to get every human experience and make sure that I'm speaking about it? Nope, probably not, because again, the power of attraction, I'm only attracted to certain kinds of conversations. Well, after a while, I realized that the types of conversations I was having between 92 and 2002, I guess, were not beneficial to finding that happiness that I was looking for. It didn't work. So I had to make some decisions, and by the time I turned 25, I started to recognize how many universes I was actually spinning out there. And I started to reduce the amount of time that I was talking. I started recognizing that I talked a lot, and that a lot of what I was saying was mostly gibberish to fill space. And I didn't realize that I was looking for the attention. I honestly thought that I was helping. And it's potentially still true that I really was just believing that I was still helping. But looking back on it, there was so much repetition in what I was saying that there must have, well, I don't really know any of that. Let's not even get into the past. But anyway, so this thing called the magic is the crunchy stuff where you're learning about this. When you can look back in some spaces you've mastered and say, how did I get through that? And why is this so hard now? If I was able to make it through this, how come I can't make it through this? And the truth is that you can. You just have to use your imagination on how to do it. But use your imagination for happiness so that you create happiness. The magic is the crunchy space. The magic is the space that doesn't make any sense. It's the space where you're learning. It's the space where you're growing and evolving and moving into new ideas about yourself. Ideas that you're choosing. I'm not choosing them. I'm choosing happy and together. That's really as much as I got for a plan. I could sit here all day. Did I already say that? I feel like I said that. Point being, you got two choices here. Whether you're in an argument with yourself or an argument with another person, there's a space here where communication can be really lost if you don't make wise choices. And those wise choices consist of, I don't know everything. That right there will save a lot. Okay. Why? Because it's nice sometimes to just say okay. And some people get frustrated by that, so you've kind of got to pick and choose which ones are actually going to play that game with you. Anyways, so here you are happy, and then here this person is happy, and then you guys get into an argument, and then you work it out, and then all of a sudden you're happy again. I say, let's nix the whole argument. Let's just stay happy. The second it doesn't make any sense, just everybody say, okay, and then wait. Rather than playing the field of argument, just wait for a second. Let it go. Let's just see what happens. You can go ahead and say, well, nothing will get done if we don't do blah, 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 blah. Or we have to argue because of blah, 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 blah. Fine, fine, fine. Say what you want to say. But did you try that part where someone says you did this? No, you did this. Argue, 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 argue. Or you did this. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Okay. And then wait. Just a little experiment. I mean, who knows? Do what you like. But I say try anyway. Try. Try.